Hello and welcome, fellow bookworms and film fans. Welcome to this week's episode of The Content Narrative, where I'll be looking at Minority Report, written by Philip K. Dick, and it was published in 1956. The film was then released in 2002, and I'll be looking at three things: how good is the book, how good is the film, and how well does the film take from the book. So first things first, the film. Now, this film is amazing. It's a classic Tom Cruise performance, and even though it's 2002, I'd say it was more 90s Tom Cruise, to be fair. The story is so well told, and it deals with the idea that if you're stopped before committing a crime, are you really guilty? Because if you've not committed the crime yet, you can't be tried. But if they let you commit the crime, then someone can lose their life. And it's just sort of this idea of this pre-crime is going in and he's stopping these people committing murders and everything like that. But what if this person wasn't going to commit murder? So if you can see the crime before it happens and save that person's life, but then you imprison the perpetrator who hasn't done it yet, is that ethical? Because you're saving a life, but would that life have been lost in the first place? And it's a very strong topic there. Now, the film deals with this dilemma so well, and it leaves you on the edge of your seat at every second of the film, because when you're the one who has seen yourself killing someone that you've never met, do you still have a choice? So if this precogs, as they're known, predict that you're going to kill this person, you've never met this person, you don't know who this person is, but you now know that you're going to commit this crime, will you still commit it? Or will you be able to not commit it? And therefore, does the precognition work? Because obviously they've predicted the crime is going to be committed. You've stopped it by not committing it. So does that mean that everybody else is innocent? And it is such a great film to watch, because obviously Tom Cruise is the one that gets that says he's going to murder someone, and then he turns around and goes, but I don't know this person, why would I murder this person? And it's brilliant, and every step of the way, with the twists and the turns, you sat there going and then when he actually confronts the guy and realizes why he was put in this position and who this guy is, it's just phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. It really is. And this film gets a 10 out of 10 for me. I love this film. I will watch this film several times over. I love Tom Cruise in it. I love just the premise of it, the storyline of it. And honestly, watch it. Please, God, watch it. It's such a great film. Now, the novella was a quick and easy read. It was only 43 pages. I feel like we're doing Sleepy Hollow again. And again, it has such good ideas. The fact that Philip K. Dick, obviously we've done his Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I'll probably be doing Total Recall at some point. And he has such good ideas. Like the books are so original. And it's actually in a collection of short stories in this book here. And I've read a couple of the other short stories, and they're such good ideas. It's like, imagine if you knew you would kill someone, but you don't know them. Would you still do it? And does this knowledge then make sure that you won't commit the crime? And does it make it null and void? So the idea of innocent until proven guilty is completely turned around, and it really makes you think about the ramifications of this. Because our entire system is you're innocent until proven guilty, but their system is you're guilty until and you're not ever proven innocent. Because they've got this, you're definitely going to commit this crime. We've stopped you. You're guilty. You're going to be interned for life, basically. And it's such an original idea. And I absolutely loved it. I loved reading it. And it was only 43 pages. And it was so brilliant, honestly. I love the fact that once Anderton finds out who and why it is that he's going to kill, it actually makes him do because when he first finds out, he goes, well, I'm never going to kill this person. I don't know what you're talking about. But by the end, he's just he's done a complete 360, and he goes, well, I have to kill this person. I don't have a choice. And again, it's that, is he killing that person because it's been predicted, or is he killing that person because it's something that would have naturally happened? And so when he does a 360 and kills it, he then proves that pre-crime is still right and still able to function, even though there are flaws in it. And even if there is a report that is called the Minority Report that sometimes proves that it might not happen, he's proved that it will happen. So this little novella for me gets an 8 out of 10. brilliantly written. I would recommend this to anybody. So the plot. Now, as I'm sure we're aware, the book is 43 pages. The film is a good like 2.5 hours or something like that. So there's going to be a lot of differences. So the film starts with a pre-crime guessing a murder about to happen. They sprint into action. It's got Anderton at its core. He's like the lead detective. And then you've got a detective, Whitwer, who watches on and is kind of brought in to look at the flaws through pre-crime, basically. The book starts with Anderton, who's a commissioner. He's also described as being balding and larger, and not exactly the prime of his life. So you wouldn't expect Tom Cruise to be playing this character. But it starts with Commissioner Anderton talking to Whitwer, who's not a detective, but somebody that's going to come in and take over the job, because he's training him as a replacement. Now, once back in pre-crime, in both, Anderton gives a tour to Whitwer, and it's including seeing the precogs. Now, in the precogs in the book are completely tied up with machines. Apparently, they look quite deformed. It's almost like they're in a computer almost. In the film, you can see the three precogs in a pool. They're being looked after, lovingly looked after, and they could basically be normal human beings. You could pass them in the street. The main precog's name is changed from Donna in the book to Agatha on screen. Now, Donna isn't really, like, the precogs, to be fair, aren't really that much of a problem. In the film, Agatha goes out on a little adventure with Anderton. And also in the book, the precogs predict all crime, not just murder. So they also predict, like, tax fraud and robbery and just everything, like, all crime. Whereas the precogs in the film only really predict murders. However, in both, Anderton finds out that the precogs have predicted that he killed someone, who he's never met. So it's Leo Crow in the film and Leopold Kaplan in the book. Now, a little discrepancy is that in the book, Anderton apparently formed pre-crime 6 years ago. In the film, it's been around a lot longer. It was founded by somebody else and Anderton just works there. Also, Anderton in the film joined pre-crime when his son disappeared and he threw himself into his work with his wife leaving him. In the book, he's happily married and he doesn't have that hanging over him. And he's actually happily married to the executive official of pre-crime. So you've got, there's a lot of differences. Now, in both, he is fleeing when he finds out. Now, in the book, he then ends up, as he's running away, being taken to the guy that he's going to kill. In the film, he doesn't meet this guy till a lot later on. But because in the film at this point, he's just trying to run and trying to prove his innocence. And in the film as well, Anderton is way more capable on his own. He also goes and gets his eyeballs changed because apparently, like, you get recognised by your eyeballs. Of course you do. And, you know, he just goes on the run and he beats his team at one point. And he's very, very capable. But it's Tom Cruise. Of course he's capable. Whereas in the book, it's more of a case of Anderton needs help from other people. And so he gets help from a guy called Fleming, who gives him some money and another identity so he can get away with it. But then he realises that he needs to get to the precogs for the Minority Report about his murder, about the murder that he's going to commit. So the murder will happen 7 days in the book. So within 7 days, he will kill this person. In the film, it's 36 hours. So you've got this countdown clock in the film that he's constantly checking his watch. In the book, it's more sort of like he's got a bit of leeway, really. Now, when we do find out about what the Minority Report is, and what that is it's one precog not agreeing with the other two. So 2 of them can see the murder and 1 can see it going, nope, this person's not going to kill someone. So with that in mind, if one of them is saying that they're not going to kill someone, but the other 2 are, what do you do? So anyway, so we find out about this Minority Report through the radio in the book, but through the person that sort of set up the precogs in the film. Now, in both, Anderton breaks into the pre-crime building to get his Minority Report. Now, in the book, it's just about downloading like a little piece of information from like a long spool, because again, it's like a computer. In the film, he ends up kidnapping Agatha, because he doesn't have enough chance to get that information. So he kidnaps Agatha, he goes off to his friend, his friend then starts downloading the information from Agatha's brain, and then we realise sort of like, because she keeps seeing this murder, but not his murder, the murder of a woman killed many years earlier. So anyway, so when he escapes in the book, it's with his wife's help. Now, in the book, however, Anderton then turns himself in after escaping with his wife because he realises now why he's going to commit this murder. So essentially, he's going to commit this murder because Kaplan is using this pre-crime, this prediction, to have a coup. Basically, the army is going to have a coup with the police and run pre-crime completely or demolish it, and the army will then be in control. So he realises that Fleming as well wasn't working to help him. Fleming was working for Kaplan and was trying to get him to do this. So he then decides that he's going to turn himself into the police and talk to Whitwer and discuss this, what's happening basically. And this then makes him want to commit the murder so that pre-crime can survive. Now in the film, the murder Anderton is supposed to fulfill is fabricated, as earlier Anderton had actually stumbled upon a murder that happened, and he was trying to figure out why it didn't quite add up to the person that they actually arrested for the murder. Well, arrested before the murder happened. So then Anderton in the film comes across Crow, who is supposedly he killed Anderton's boy. However, this isn't true, and it's a setup. So Anderton decides not to kill Crow, then an accident happens and Crow still dies. And this then causes Anderton to be arrested and detained. Now in the book, Anderton decides to kill Kaplan in cold blood because he realises what he needs to do. But when he does this, it's because he is also saying that he is going to, like, I'll kill him, pre-crime will survive, but I need to be exiled, basically. I'm not being arrested. So the book ends with Anderton and his wife being exiled, so that pre-crime can endure for years to come. The film, however, goes on to Anderton's ex-wife realising it's a setup, and that the mentor of Anderton is actually the killer of this woman, and because Anderton has stumbled upon this, he then got done up, as it were, for the murder of somebody else. So she then goes on, frees Anderton. He then shows the murder that went unsolved, and the film ends with pre-crime being shut down, the pre-Gogs living out in a peaceful life away from everyone, and him and his wife are back together. And that's a really sweet, nice little ending. So the two narratives are completely different. I think the only thing in common is John Anderton as a name. That's literally it. I think there's like, oh, I'm sorry, and the idea of can you truly arrest someone of a crime that isn't committed? Now, it's such a great premise for a story, and I can see why the changes were made to the film narrative, because for a 43-page book, to make it into such a blockbuster, you are going to have to make changes, as we saw with Sleepy Hollow as well. And as we've seen with countless books that I've mentioned, like Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep as well, it completely changed the book, but they were both very good in their own right. Now, obviously, the plot was nowhere near what it was supposed to be, and for this, it gets a 1 out of 10. But I can see why why the film narrative went off on its own, as it were, and it just took the basic idea and then kind of left the rest of it out. Now, obviously, this is my own opinion. It is always my own opinion. If you agree or disagree with anything I've said, please leave it below in the comments. If there's any book to film adaptations you'd like me to have a look at, or even I'll start doing book reviews as well. So is there any books that you'd like me to read that I'll just do a book review of? Leave it below in the comments. Don't forget to click subscribe and to like this video. And until then, remember to always keep it contento. Which, by the way, I do say because my name is Peggy Contento. Well, it's now Peggy Tate. I'm married. But that's why I say keep it contento, because that was my maiden name. And that's why I say it. And that's why it's a contented narrative. But thank you very much, guys. Keep it contento.